I think that porn has the potential to destroy society and masculinity. Here's why. Now, I've been very open about my own struggle with lust, pornography, and masturbation on this channel in order to help out men who are struggling in a very similar way. I personally was exposed to it at the age of 16, which is actually a lot later than the average that males are exposed to pornography, which is absolutely mind boggling. But most men are being exposed to this at around 9 years old. While their brains are still developing, they are basically hopping on a drug that has incredible potential for destruction, a drug that is going to change the way that they operate in their relationships and in their day-to-day life for the rest of their existence. Now, you may think, oh, Brandon, it's really not that big of a deal. Like, it's going to destroy society, like in masculinity? Come on, man. Like, it's not that big of a deal. Here's why it is going to be so destructive. And I would argue that we haven't even begun to scratch the surface yet in terms of what our society looks like right now, because we are currently in a time period where the men who have all been getting exposed to porn at the young age of 9 years old are just entering manhood. Online pornography became extremely popular in the early 2000s, and that's when I was born. And so what we have right now is a cultural shift happening where all of the young men in society that are developing and going out and having relationships are the ones who have been consuming porn their entire lives, who have gone through puberty addicted to this powerful drug. It had shaped their mind and has shaped their beliefs in certain ways that are going to harm them and are going to potentially destroy society as a whole. Now, I'm on the front lines with this. Every single day, I get messaged by dozens of men that watch my videos, and this is the main question that I receive. How do I stop watching porn? I have been addicted for years. I can't seem to get a grasp on my lust. And here's what happens to these men. When I ask them questions about how it's affecting their life, when I interact with people who are struggling with this, what I see is that men are, number one, developing incredibly high standards because they have the ability to sit in their room all day long and watch the most beautiful women of all time get undressed in front of them. And they get the dopamine hit that comes along with pleasuring themselves to that. What does that mean? Well, it means that their expectations for female beauty are highly elevated. And as time goes on, as they continue to watch porn, the porn starts to become more degenerate and it starts to become more intense. And all of a sudden, they need hotter girls or girls that are doing weirder things or even watching super fucked up things in order to get them off, in order to bring them sexual satisfaction. And as time goes on, their sexual desire just continues to increase. And they're constantly giving into it, creating this vicious cycle where they are a prisoner to their own desire. And now they go out and start dating women. But these women that they're dating, these women that they're getting access to, aren't as pretty as the girls in these videos. And that means that they don't really want to go out there and put in the work and dress nice and try to be successful to woo a beautiful woman, because why would they do that when they already have access to the prettiest girls on the planet without doing anything from the phone screen? There's no reason to go out and do it. So number one, men are getting spoiled. And this is causing the birth rate to decline. Relationships are starting to decline. People having kids, everything is starting to decline. And as that trend continues to pan out, and as we see more men who have been addicted to porn for their entire lives getting into the position where they should be going off and getting married and having children, I think we're going to see that number get stunted. I think that men are so sedentary. They are totally fine just sitting around doing nothing and not trying to pursue women. And on top of that, women have become more and more independent. They've become more and more feminist, where they now think that they deserve a man who has a lot of money, a man who has been working hard his entire life, a man who looks good, a man who is in shape. When all of these guys that have been watching porn their entire lives have been pressing that dopamine button over and over and over again to the point where they don't even care about their own success. They don't even care about going to the gym and lifting weights. They don't care about watching their weight and staying in shape because they've been getting so much dopamine from the wrong places that they haven't had any motivation to go get it from doing something that's hard. Going out there and putting work into a career. Going out there and building skills and educating yourself and working out in the gym. The men are getting in worse and worse shape. The decline is there, while simultaneously female standards are raising as they become more independent. They want a man that's successful now. Social media is out there so the women can post and get validation from hundreds of men at once. So why would they settle for one man when they can easily just swap him out for another? And then the men themselves are weaker than ever, so they can't hold on to a woman. This is the perfect recipe for a collapse in society. I am out there on the front lines dating women, and I am also dealing with men who are going through all of these exact problems. And the men start to isolate themselves, and they start to blame women for their problems. And they say, oh, they're feminist, and oh, they're stupid, and they're the reason I don't even want a woman. And I'm going to go jerk off because that's easier. That is how most men are thinking today. They are thinking it's not even worth it to get into a relationship because I have access to these things, this synthetic porn online that I can find that's going to bring about my wildest fantasies and scratch all of my itches, satisfy all of my cravings. Why would I ever want a real woman? And now we're getting into the age of AI. I have all of these ads constantly popping up in my social media as a man where there are AI chatbots that are females that you can go on and develop a relationship with these women. And then you can customize the character. And then you can get the character to do whatever you want it to do. These ads are nonstop coming up on my page. And I'm looking at this, mortified as somebody who's been fighting this for almost 8 years now. I'm horrified by it. But I also see all of these men that are coming to me, and I know the situations that they're in. I know just how detrimental this is. It's like a tornado where you take warm air and you take cold air. And when they mix together, they create that tornado, and a lot of people are going to get hurt. It has the potential to destroy an entire society. And masculinity itself is being constantly undermined time and time and again because men don't feel any urgency anymore. They don't care about going out there and building civilization. Because they've got access to women on their phone. Men's want for female attention has built society as we know it. But now you give men access to exactly what they want without having to build something, without having to create, without having to become capable and responsible. That is a recipe for disaster. Every single man needs to be going to battle with this every single day. And I'm telling you, if you are a man who can learn to suppress your feelings of lust, if you are a man who can put reins on your sexual desire, you will notice that women will treat you very differently. They love it when they actually find a man who is in control, a man who does not go weak for their body. Because that's what is also happening in these relationships, is men are willing to give up everything in order to get some pussy from a woman. They're willing to let her wear the pants in the family. They're willing to give her half of everything that they own. They're willing to screw up their entire life just to get in a woman's pants. It's incredible. The men are becoming slaves to their desire via porn. And then when they actually go out and do end up getting into a relationship, the ones that don't just lock themselves in their room and watch porn all day, the ones that actually do go out there are still a slave to their own desire. And that ends up destroying their relationships. It ends up completely throwing off the male to female dynamic. This is so much more serious of a problem than people realize. And we are only going to see it get worse over the next 5, 10, and 20 years. So if you are a man, promise me that you are going to fight against this. Promise me that every single day you will wake up and fight this battle that is sometimes seemingly impossible. But do it not just for society and not just for other people, but do it for yourself. Because trust me, it will change your life being able to desexualize your brain and fully start interacting with women in the way that you were supposed to, with the proper dynamic, where you're not a slave to your desires. There was a female dating coach that I was watching the other day, and somebody asked him, they said, "How do I know if this man actually likes me or if he's just lusting after me?" And the female dating coach said, "Well, you want him to lust after you, you know? Lust is a good thing. You can completely use it to control him. Every single time he comes over to your house, he's got to check your oil. He's got to mow the lawn. He's got to clean the gutters. Because you have control, girl. You can boss him around and tell him to do whatever you want. Why are you looking at it like him lusting after you is a bad thing? You want a good amount of lust in there. That's how you control them." That's what's being taught to women nowadays. And so if you're a man and you're going out there and you're dating women, you're cooked if you can't control your sexual desire. You're genuinely screwed. You're going to get dragged around like a tiny dog with a collar and a leash by a woman who has control over you because you decided not to control your sexual desire. Hopefully you guys found this video helpful. Make sure to drop a like down below. Drop a singular thumbs up in the comment section if you watched all the way through this video till the end. And make sure to check out the one-on-one coaching application. Link in the description as well as in the pinned comment, where I work with 100 men one-on-one if you're interested in joining. And I will see you guys all in the next one. Peace.